All right, Jess, what inappropriately named band were you in? Your turn.
Yeah, I'm nothing as cool as that though. Yeah, hi, I'm Jess, or Jess Sandoval, sitting on Herc, and deep dark secrets are locked away in a chest. So, let's see, fun fact, I guess I love tango dancing, and I will
Yeah.
tango dance 4 days of the week, 5 days of the week, or salsa dancing too, both float my boat.
I've seen her dance. She's quite good.
It's super exciting. So, it's 6 a.m. dance lessons
Yeah,
in the mess.
on the bow.
On the bow.
On the bow, yeah.
I can't dance either.
Punk rock, all you need to do is just
Mosh pit.
I think the rest of
Gosh.
the introductions are just going to be us being able to do something and Dan just being like, I can't do that either.
All right, Rennie.
Yeah, Renato Kane, navigator on this watch. I was in bands in high school, college, and beyond. So that's my secret talent.
Just
What type of band?
A bunch of different kinds over the years. I played bass in some, and then I play guitar, things like that.
I can see it too.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Because you've seen old pictures of me like, with my long hair.
Yeah, I've seen those as well.
Well, I guess if we're doing talents, I didn't know we were going on a trend. Mine would be horseback riding, which I've been doing since I was 4. Yeah. I made the mistake of sitting in front of not getting the trends.
Well, we'll start letting Dan go first.
What kind of horses do you ride? Are you English or Western?
Yeah, I do English. I've been riding since I was 4.
Awesome.
Competing since I was 6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do English, but we had a new neighbor come by, and she brought her horses, and she does Western riding. And my mom and a bunch of her friends who are on the older side, they were like, that looks a lot more safe. So our barn's shifting to Western. So, but I used to go to Wyoming all the time to go Western riding. So I'm used to it. I do both. What
kind of horses do you guys have?
I have a Irish sport horse thoroughbred cross who is 16'2".
Wow.
His name's DJ. I love him to bits. I can't wait to see him when I get home. And we got him when he was 11, and we got him 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. So
16'2", you must need a stepladder to get on him.
yes, I do. Yeah, I am only 5'6", so definitely a stepladder is needed, and I cannot use him for games, which that could be my fun fact. I went to championships for games and came in 4th place.
Sweet.
Out of 10 people.
That's a long way to fall, 16'2".
Yeah, it resulted in a separated shoulder. One fall, but I'm all good. And I rode the next day.
Of course.
Steve.
Yeah. Back
Ready?
row's turn.
I know you're back there. I don't even have to turn around. There you
All right. So the back row.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, we're sitting back here. I'll start off the back row, science row introductions. In the watch lead position, my name is Steve Oskovich. I'm a PhD candidate at Temple University in Philadelphia. And this is my 7th year, or 7th season with Nautilus.
Lucky
And
7.
yeah,
Yeah, Steve, we must have come in the same year.
We did, yeah. A
Woo,
lot of
to
people
7
came in
years.
2013. When
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people that are still around.
I think, yeah, us 3 on this watch.
Yeah, and let's see. I think I might take you up on making a talent or fun fact or deep dark secret for me. I'm not sure I want to go into any of those.
Come on, Steve, do it, do it, do it.
Well, little known fact, on Steve's 13th birthday, he actually won the International Quilting Bee, which was held in Dillsboro, Kansas. He unseated Dolores. Dolores had won it 72 years
Is
straight.
a quilting bee, or they just tested on quilting facts, or they actually got a quilt
It's
in front of a live audience?
it's more of a fact-based contest.
Facts all about quilting. Wow, Steve, I
You
didn't know
know,
this was your talent.
I thought I had that scrubbed from Google, but I guess
You can find anything, man.
Poor
I need
Dolores. Wow.
Yeah, she
to
was
do some searching.
she was very upset, but later that week her grandchildren came to spend the month with her, so she got over it.
It was in the local paper, all of the above.
What kind of corals did you put on your quilt?
At that time, I wasn't into corals yet. Yeah, that was more of a recent development.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Steve, you have kind of an encyclopedic knowledge about corals and stuff. Did you grow up like knowing all the dinosaurs or stuff like that?
No, I was never into dinosaurs. Yeah, I was always into intertidal stuff. But no dinosaurs. Yeah, it probably was high school before I developed a marine-centric view on life, or biological view on life. All right, next to my left.
Ooh. All right, my turn. Hi, everybody. My name is Jen Humphreys. I'm a guest scientist on this cruise. I am a second-year PhD student from University of California, Riverside, and what do I want to share?
Be careful.
I know.
Everything. We want everything.
Everything. Well, I was born on a very snowy, cold winter's day in the middle of a cabin in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of no electricity. No.
Wow.
My talent is clearly not telling stories.
This is great.
I actually have an interesting history with art and science, and before I went the science route or came back to the sciences, I actually got an art degree.
Yeah.
So, and it's in visual and dramatic arts, and it's on the visual side of things. Pretty sure I would die of stage fright if I was ever actually up in front of people. So that's my fun thing, is I can do visual art stuff and got a degree in it and whatnot.
What was your preferred medium?
Oh, that's a good question. I really like oil paints. They're just really messy, and they I'm lazy, and the cleanup effort, it's really hard. I have this painting sitting on an easel that's been there for 2 years untouched. I was working on it before I moved out to grad school, and then I have it set up, and then I've done nothing with it since I got to grad school. It's sad. I've been working on watercolors recently. Those are a lot easier to clean up. And I really like photography and photo manipulation stuff. And usually my end products, they look like cartoons instead of the actual photographs that they started off as.
Cool.
So those are things I do.
Cool.
Cool.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, we're really filling in the activities list that we're going to have
Yep.
on today's cruise. After salsa dancing, we'll be learning to paint, followed by quilting.
Can finger painting work for us?
Yes. Finger painting is the best. You don't have to clean up the brushes afterwards. You just have
Yeah.
to wash your hands.
And if you use fudge, you can just eat it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Art you can eat. I've seen sculptures made out of chocolate, so, you know,
Oh, yeah.
anything works.
In
But-
kindergarten, that's how we learned how to spell. We used fudge.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
we just drew it. So it was pretty cool. And chocolate.
I'd be the kid licking it off the paper.
I'm pretty sure I did that.
My turn?
Yeah.
In the data seat, in the science row, my name is Alicia Dazani. I'm one of the science interns on board. I am going into my fourth year at University of California, Santa Barbara, so keeping it Western. And a fun fact about me is that for my 3 years of undergrad so far, I've played on an intramural soccer team. I played on an intramural soccer team called the Wet Noodles.
That is a fantastic name. That is great.
And I guess building off of that, we've made it to the championships every single quarter, every single mini season, and we've lost in the championships every single time.
To the same people?
Sometimes, but yep, we've just been that close every single time.
Running up against Team Dolores.
I
It's gonna do you in.
I think we should just let you come up with all of our special talents.
I see this is a Geo, Steve.
Yeah.
I didn't look at the satellite altimetry too closely beforehand, but didn't we think it was a Geo? I don't know if we had that.
I thought it was more of a mound, but
yeah,
it's,
usually
it's,
they can't resolve Geos too well because it's just based on.
yeah. So it's definitely more Geo-like.
Yeah.
However, if you go to the center, there's some very distinct, actually, what appear to be sediment waves.
Yeah, you could see it in the slope map really well.
Yeah, and so we don't want to go there.
We don't want to go there.
Probably not. Yeah, we don't want to get stuck in the sediment, so we're gonna stick. If you look to Figure 5, it's a backscatter map. We're sticking onto that white hard return stuff.
Yeah. That's always a constant battle. Is the color ramp on a backscatter map. The remote sensors, like myself, and mappers prefer the brighter colors, higher returns to be kind of a brighter, the white color, and the softer returns, lower returns to be in dark. But that's the opposite of what it looks like on the seafloor. You see rocks on the seafloor tend to be black and sediment is white. So marine geologists like the color ramp to be the other way. So there's always a fight about it.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some pretty good luck with geodes and biological communities, especially right on the rim of the seamount.
Yeah, those are steep.
Yeah, it is steep just in the last little climb there, but we'll see. Still looking for that crazy coral and sponge community. And we had some good luck last night. I was pretty happy with those bamboo gardens up top, but I want more.
Well, this star
diversity.
plan seems to go across a lot of depths, and once we get to the top of that, or the side of that geo, the slope is really steep, so I'd say it's pretty promising.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm interested in, we have a couple hundred meters, so we're landing at like 3,200 or so, and we're working our way up from there. There's only about a dozen known coral species that are octocorals, sea fans, below 3,000 meters in the Pacific. So I'm curious if we do see any corals in the first couple 100 meters of our dive. Those would be high priority collection targets. But we'll see. I don't know when it's going to start to turn rocky.
How about the stuff we collected on the last dive? How'd that all look in the lab? I saw the holothurian. That looked really cool.
Yeah, that was a good one. We did sample that, yep, and it came up whole after being slurped. So
he did live.
Very little damage.
He or she.
You should, yeah. Well, probably it's not looking too good now, but when it first came up, it was good.
Yeah. So
epic fail.
we have, we processed them in pretty good time considering how many we had. We have a lot of rocks, and we're picking off a ton of biology off the rocks, and haven't gotten a chance to identifying all the corals yet. But we have after this dive, we'll have probably a day and a half of transit, and then I'll take a look at them then, and then we have a few days on the end of the cruise transiting down south where we'll be able to look at some things in more detail.
What you gonna do?
Is there an auto focus mode? It says auto.
Seems like it, huh?
Can't toggle the thing from. Oh, there it is. Autofocus. So it's got to be this.
Jess, let me see if I can get your targets in here.
Sure thing.
Anyone know what's in the large wooden crate that's next to where Argus sits?
That's a secret.
It's a secret.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Right.
We could speculate.
I do know what's in there, but don't want to talk about it. It's a secret. Truly is a secret.
That's fine. Somebody was asking. They were watching the launch and were curious. I thought it was a piano.
Those are my quilting supplies.
Everyone gets a quilt by the end of the cruise. So you heard it here first.
Oh, wonderful.
How'd you get into AI? You guys have cows? Or?
My in-laws have a small, I guess, kind of hobby farm, but they've just gotten into the Black Angus. And
oh, yeah. Low
so
lines or just Angus?
I have no idea. All I know is Clemson University had a course, and my father-in-law didn't think that he could pass it. And so I spent a week at Clemson taking the course.
That's a week-long course?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really not that complicated. Several days of practice.
There is some technique to nail them every time.
Yeah.
We sticker all of our cows. Put the little sticker on the back.
Yeah.
You really have to watch them closely to.
And see, they
get 'em
don't.
at the right time.
Yeah, they both have day jobs, so they don't watch enough. So they'll put the stickers on, and then they go down there several weeks later after not paying any attention, and of course they're gone at that point. I mean, they've rubbed up against a tree, or they've but they were paying somebody to come out because they only have about you know, 10 to 15 cows.
That's more than a hobby.
Well, and they're heading that way. They started out with about 5, and then we've been kind of reproducing.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it sounds like my parents with longhorns. They got some longhorns a few years ago, and they started off with a few of them. And now they have quite a few more than a few.
Longhorns.
Yep. They're nice. They just take care of themselves. You put them out in a pasture, and they do everything. They basically live happy cow lives with very minimal human influence or interaction.
So are they raising them for beef or rodeo or just
To give to people for crossbreeding purposes, because apparently they make everything a lot more hardy and disease resistant if you start mixing longhorn DNA into the other cattle breeds that are raised in Texas.
tough Texas Longhorns?
Yeah.
So is there just one species of cow, and there, like, all the different breeds are like subspecies, or?
No, like dogs. There's
like dogs, yeah.
Infinite amounts.
Ah.
And they trend too, really trendy.
Huh.
We get a couple years that this breed is the best thing since sliced bread.
I love cows.
Even cows have deep, dark secrets.
When I was little, there was a dairy farm down the road from us, and I was fascinated with the cows, and they were milking cows, so I'd always go down and watch the cows get milked in the morning, which was really fun. I didn't say I wasn't a weird child. And the little babies will suck on your fingers, which are really cute.
If you're just joining us for Cow Power Hour, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
We're going to let you know all you could ever want to know about cows.
Us experts here.
So my question is, do they have sea cows?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, please explain.
Manatee?
Manatees, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're so cute.
Can't really milk a manatee, can you?
I mean, you could try.
Not with that attitude.
You can milk anything with nipples.
They're protected, so yeah. I think that might be under the disturbance to a protected species.
Yeah, you will definitely get fined in Florida if you try to milk a manatee.
That doesn't mean someone hasn't tried.
Do you know from experience, or?
That sounds like a voice of experience.
Yeah, I've been. During the winter they all congregate in the springs, and we've been snorkeling through there. And there's actually a kind of a group of volunteer old people that I don't know if that probably wasn't in the.
That's rude.
the job posting, but they tend to be that way because they have extra time and they're in Florida. But they kayak around and are kind of a representative, and they will write you a ticket with a heavy fine if you even kind of accidentally brush up against one of the manatees.
Really?
Accidentally brush up.
What if the manatee decides to accidentally brush up against you?
Yeah, no, if they're heading your way and there's no way to get out, they kind of give you a pass on that. But yeah, most of the time you can kind of move, and it's kind of clear. But do not try to milk a manatee. And that was from a movie. What's the movie? The Fockers movie?
Oh, Meet the Fockers?
Or one of those.
That was a
Meet the
cat.
Parents.
I think he was talking about milking a cat.
Yeah. Well, now they have a sequel they can make.
The retirement stage. They're in Florida.
I can just picture the ad
Does
now.
primary comp typically change a lot during a dive?
Negative. It
Negative.
hasn't the last few dives.
Yeah. Would there be any other indicators that something is going wrong there if you can't see that gauge?
Yeah, we have the, I don't watch that gauge anyway, so I watch the volume.
Oh, you got the volume over there.
For some reason, Jess doesn't trust the volume, but I don't trust the gauge, so.
It's because it fluctuates around
Between the
so
two
much.
of you, there's a lot of mistrust.
It does seem to fluctuate a bit.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's probably an analog sensor, so it's a bit noisy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the V shape you're seeing on the Hercules camera is actually our two lasers that we use to measure things on the seafloor. Was it 10 centimeters apart? Is that what it is?
10 centimeters.
Yeah.
Or 4 inches, whichever comes first.
And we used to have red lasers, but they don't go very far in water. So we've got green lasers and they go on forever. Look at them.
So somewhere at the bottom there's a fish swimming around a laser.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure how far they go actually, but I know that it's at least beyond our view. But the trade-off is then we didn't really used to have two red lines. We just see the two red dots.
Okay.
Now the green is very visible, so it can affect video. That's why we turn lasers on and off sometimes if we off to get a good video shots without any, and then on to have good science measurements.
Halfway there.
I'm waiting for 1604.5.
Well, technically, halfway there.
Has a fish or other critter ever tried to chase the lasers?
Chase light? No.
Yeah,
Like a cat.
Usually they're scared of by the general light of the vehicle before they.
The Humboldt squid will chase the heck out of them.
Oh yeah.
Like a cat. And,
Oh, those are very smart.
and they'll actually, they'll wait, like when the laser hits a rock, they'll dive in and pick up the rock and then throw it in disgust. Actually, they came, they were real prevalent on the West Coast for a couple of years.
Mm.
And it became an issue. We had to turn the lasers off because we had all these giant Humboldt squid invading our camera, and they were hitting the seabed, stirring up the visibility. And
Oh wow.
they're the only ones I've ever seen chase the lasers.
Wow. It's kind of an incredible
Yeah.
talent.
It was entertaining for the first half an hour.
Then once all the sediments picked up.
Well, the scientists weren't impressed.
Yeah, to kind of put the lights on Herc into perspective, they'd be like the lights you'd see at a football stadium. So they're quite bright. So imagine darkness and then all of a sudden someone just flips on the lights.
I don't know what how many lumens Herc has, but we worked it out on Sebastian to 250 automobiles with their headlights on high beam.
Wow.
Jeez. Morning.
It's probably similar on Herc. It's got those big boomers on there, plus the ones on Argus.
It seems like the underwater lighting, deep sea lighting technology has come a long way, because if you look at old footage from older dives, it looks like lighting is a big factor of the quality. Obviously the video quality itself sometimes depending on what kind of camera they had and recording mechanism, but sometimes the lighting just seems a bit inadequate compared to what we have.
It's The hugest step was when we went to LEDs. So
Yeah.
like Herc has all LEDs on. We used to have incandescent lights, and it made everything this kind of washed out orangey color. Then we had, when we first started getting LEDs, we had a mix. And some of the video wizards figured out that if you didn't have the inkies on, as they called them, incandescents, we had better video and truer colors.
Yeah.
And then they got technical and started matching the
color temperature.
Yeah, the color temperature is all the same.
Yeah.
Because that would make the video not true. And then they also played around with the, like some of the lights are, thankfully none on this system, I don't think, but some are dimmable, and the dimming frequency would mess with the taking still cameras if you happen to flash the shutter at just the right time, where several of them were in the dimming cycle.
That's what happens when video people have too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
We just end up fixing everything.
It's a cycle of breaking and fixing.
Yeah.
It's
job security.
It's really incredible, and it always kills me when I go back to work on a commercial vehicle. They know nothing about lighting.
Do they have incandescent still, or mainly just that they have LEDs but don't have it set up very well?
Most of them are LEDs nowadays. They tend to have all the flash new stuff.
Yeah.
They have silly amounts of money, but
yeah.
They like they'll point them all towards the center of the vehicle. And if you notice on Argus, the cathexts or whatever the boomers we have on here are pointed out away. And if you try to do that, they just, why are you pointing it out that way? And they don't have near the amount of lights. And it's really tragic because now they're getting the high definition cameras, which require a lot more, they're light hogs. They want the light. So there's still a lot of low light cameras on the vehicles out there. And then we put a whole bunch of lights on the vehicle, and that causes the iris to close down. And it's really painful. You get there's this bright spot in the center of the screen and this dark spot around the edge.
I guess they're more purpose-driven than video-driven.
Yeah, we're typically not, we're within 2 meters of what we're working on all the time, and it's usually painted white or orange or yellow. And we're up close with the manipulator, so and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter unless you're bored and you're off on the seabed looking for science, because it gets in the blood. If we have some downtime while we're down there, which we often do, waiting around, we'll go look around. I'm still waiting for lights that tilt, though. The only vehicle I've seen that does that is D2, the Okeanos vehicle.
You find that helps?
Big time.
Wow.
And Bari did it for a while. They kind of came about it accidentally. They had this science project where the lights in the camera would follow the end effector on the manipulator. That didn't, was overly complicated, but they figured out, hey, if we can tilt the lights when we're on a cliff, or we can look up. So
that makes sense, yeah.
But it's more moving parts on the vehicle to have trouble with, I guess.
Would it take up a lot of space, having a little motor on it, or no, not really?
No, the way D2 does it, they have they have like a light bar, like you see on almost like on a 4-wheel drive, and the whole light bar just tilts.
Oh, the whole light bar does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because you wouldn't need individual control, mostly just panning up and down, right?
No, and there's a few where
Tilting up and down.
I've seen a few science projects where the light inside the housing tilts. And especially now the LEDs are so small, it's easy to just put a little tilt motor in there.
Yeah.
But there's also some resistance, because if they get stuck, you know, if it fails on like tilt up, then
you can't.
you can't see.
Can't see.
Can't see the seabed. Abort the dive.
Yeah, that'd be a silly reason to abort the dive. So I could see the resistance.
And we've done it more than once on because the camera won't tilt. Yeah, the imagery that we get here is just amazing to me still to this day. It's then again, we use a 5-gallon bucket for a lens cover. So.
It's a mix of traditional and modern technologies.
Some huge optics.
There's a lot of emphasis on that word traditional.
I was devastated. We got the 4K camera video on, but it's not on the vehicle. It's still in its box.
Yeah.
So sad.
Is it in a large wooden crate?
Negative. It's in a very expensive, highly padded Pelican case.
Inside of a large wooden crate.
I think it came inside of a large wooden crate.
Is there plans to put that on Hercules this season?
There is. I'm not sure what the details are. It's meant to go on for one of the cruises, upcoming cruises. I suspect it might has to do where you can put my new camera I gave you on for my cruise, or I don't know. I'm just speculating. Or the camera I loaned you. I don't know what the details are.
Maybe it's a plane hunting camera.
It might be, yeah. That's gonna be fun. Are you on? You're not on for that, are you, Jess?
Not for the upcoming one, no.
Yeah, Samoan Clipper is our next cruise. Starts in, let's see,
2 weeks?
2 weeks. Just about, yeah, 2 weeks. It's a plane that went down off of Samoa.
So will we? You can't pick that up with the. I don't know what the water depth is there, but you can't pick it up. With
No,
the
it's really
ship?
deep. It's that's the thing is you know, the islands come out of super deep. So I think we're around 3,000 meters is what they think the location is. So we're actually gonna tow Argus as a. We're gonna attach side scan to Argus, side scan sonar.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty good at picking up things sticking off the seafloor, and
So we'll remove Herc.
yeah, there was talks of leaving Herc on as kind of a way to keep Argus straight, because the thrusters, the frequency of the thrusters kind of interact with the frequency of the side scan. But I think there might be a fin we're gonna put on
I could think of other things
Yeah.
to put on to tow around.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. The problem is that we'll be, you know, like I said, 3,000 meters deep, but Argus, a sweet spot for that side scan will be, you know, I forget what we decided, but it's kind of close to the seafloor.
And that's in addition to the side scan that's on there now. It's like some super whammy side scan.
That might be
it
the
is
one.
the edge
That's
check
the one.
they're
Yeah.
talking about.
The edge tech that's on there. I wasn't sure if they had taken it off and put it back on, but no,
It's still on there,
still on there.
causing ground faults.
Guess
Yeah.
we better sort that out.
But the yeah, the intent is really just to locate it. It's not. We're not going to map the site too much. I don't think. It's mainly just locate it and then dive with Hercules. Yeah, I think it went down in 1938, but I might be mistaken. I might be wrong on the year.
It exploded midair and
Exploded,
then
yeah.
went in.
I seem to think they have a good position on it. So hopefully it won't be too bad to locate it.
Yeah, I think there were a few eyewitnesses that kind of saw the explosion, so I think they have a pretty decent idea of where.
Yeah, and then they flew over it and got a location on an oil slick and stuff like that.
It was 1938.
Yeah, 38. Okay, I was right. All right. 97, 99, 2,000 meters.
2,000 meters.
It looks like we'll be right on time for 2. Jess, you'll be slightly upslope when we get down there. But probably by the time when you start to sort things out, Argus will drag back by the ship. So I believe they
Looks
are.
like you're dragging Argus now.
Yeah, Argus is getting pulled a little bit, and then usually when at the bottom when we start to sort, 5-meter contours, start to sort things out at the bottom, it's it comes back. Oh, you're not talking. I can't hear you. Thank you.
How far is Argus away from the launch point?
Only 30 meters.
Yeah, when we get closer to the bottom, I'll stop in my head.
Yeah, usually it
30.
starts out back there.
30 meters.
30 meters, yeah,
Does that work out to be 90 feet?
roughly.
Oh
And then we're
wait,
going up to the
I
top
have
of
meters
this.
here. Never mind.
It'll be a nice climb there, a kilometer up.
So here's a fun fact.
Cool.
You're dragging Argus 30 meters away from the launch point at 2,000 meters depth. The angle of the cable is 0.86.
Wow. Yeah.
What is this? What is this one?
Oh.
Yeah, we've actually talked about
Sakatoa.
that
Cool.
when if we're in tow mode or something. So, or there's a major layback of Argus, and there's like, well, what happens if, you know, we encounter something like a wall and we need to winch up really quick? Well, we're so far laid back that it's not going to, you know, the angle, it's going to take a bit more. But once you do the math like that, it's like, oh, it's practically straight below the ship.
Pretty much.
It doesn't actually affect too much. You can winch in and it'll go up, not sideways.
0.8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sorry.
Yeah, 3.
All right, if you're just joining us, you're finding us mid-descent. We're about 2/3 of the way down to the seafloor. Should be making it around 2 o'clock.
Yep. This is always a good perspective on how deep we're actually operating. It's like it takes a long time to get there.
So we're about twice what we were in the last dive. The last dive was about 1,500.
Yeah. So it's pretty far down there.
What do we have on that winch drum? 6,000 meters of cable?
I believe
I don't-
so.
Do we have 6 on this cable? I don't think we have 6 on this cable. I think we only have 4.5.
Do we only have 4.5? I thought we had 6 on this one.
I think we're going to get. There's
Yeah,
another cable that will have 6 on it.
That drum is
Oh.
looking like it can hold a lot more cable than it.
Yeah.
Good and tight.
Bless you.
Some tissues.
Nav, what are those contours on HiPAC?
These are 5-meter contours.
Cool.
So we'll be going up, 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 up on this first one. I'll zoom out a bit. And you can see an overview of it on if you turn on HiPAC plan. But I turn the contours off because they're a bit thick.
That looks great.
What's the expected elevation of waypoint 2 there?
Well, I happen to have that on a sheet here.
Ooh.
2680.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
600 meter elevation gain.
800. 700.
Interesting.
What? No, you're right. You were right the whole time. I was doing the math the wrong way. That's why you're in the Herc seat.
No, I don't.
I was doing depth like it was. Yeah, I did it the wrong way.
Counting on our fingers and counting on our toes, Rennie, I think.
Yeah. Need a lot of them for that many 1,000 meters.
Yeah.
It's too cold to take your shoes off, so you just have to guess.
Yep.
So to try real hard to grow another toe.
Temperature limited 10 calculator.
And Steve, what's the expectation? So we're gonna boogie to waypoint 2. What's the hopes for completion in this 2 hours that we have?
Yeah, as much as possible. I think it'll be slow going at first, but as much as possible. If we can get to waypoint 2, that's great, but that's optimistic. I think
Yeah, it's a kilometer away, so
yeah,
and it's
not likely.
it's a wall.
Yeah.
We'll have to yeah, we'll sort it out once we get down there, but we might have to we should start out cautious with our moves and see what kind of maybe it's a consistent slope, or
Yeah,
maybe it's a bunch of walls.
Slopes were in excess. Well, the first few mounds have lower slopes around 40 degrees average.
Yeah.
40 to 50 tops average slope. You don't really get the verts until you get to the platform, but we'll see what it looks like. I don't know if it's going to be pavement or if it's going to be kind of boulder stepwise. Yeah. Terrace.
Yeah, our cell size is 45 meters. So we'll get the general slope, but we won't quite know what it looks like till we're down there. And that's why we're exploring.
You never know what you're going to find. Yeah. So I was remarking last night at the end of the dive, or this morning rather, well, yesterday morning, that even those peaks that we were exploring last night had totally, in some cases, totally different coral communities. You know, one was dominated by bamboos, the other one was, you know, yellow plexaurid fans and Rittigorgia, you know, curly colonies. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how these peaks change. They lie several hundred meters depth away from each other vertically, and you know, there's about a kilometer or so between the cones, the tips of the cones. We'll see. I think there should be some differences. It shouldn't be all monotonous.
Is there any, obviously if there's like an oxygen minimum zone or something like that, but is there any depth limit that you've seen with sponges or corals, or kind of like at some point doesn't really matter, whatever communities can be at whatever depth?
You know, it's hit and miss. Sometimes you can have extremely dense coral communities, like kind of like the ones we were seeing on those overhangs a few days ago, Rittigorgia, at depths, you know, 2,000, 2,200. depends on the conditions, the flow conditions, the food supply. You can find corals and sponges. I mean, sponges probably become more common as you go deeper, deeper than 3,000. But you do find corals. The problem is things are just in lower density. It's just not. It's not that they're not there. They're just. You have to cover more ground, expend more effort to see the same amount of species.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, effort is time in this case, and we don't have infinite time, so we have to kind of use our best judgment and some fancy statistics to characterize these communities.
So why does dash cam, when I cycle it on and off, I don't get the, now I don't get the resolution displayed? That one gives it to me right away. I didn't notice when that one went lights out, did you? No work. What was some bit? They're both composite cameras, right? Trevor's going to be devastated. Trevor's going to be devastated. No, he's swapped the cameras. I'm sure he'll be devastated about the gauge too, because we both stood there and looked at it and figured out, okay, line of sight. We did both failed to neglect, or both failed to take into account the knob. It's the sound of a blue water nap.